Do you know what type of traits will make or break a relationship? There are some characteristics that can be detrimental for couples and seriously influence the chances the relationship will survive. But there are also particular attributes that should be high priority if you want to see a relationship stand the test of time. We're dishing up the facts for you today and have uncovered the 5 worst and best types of men for long-term relationships. And some of these may come as a bit of a surprise to you, but we think when you're wanting a lasting relationship, it's vital to look at both the good and the bad, so that you can make sure your relationship has a strong foundation and it has the strength and the ability to grow. Plus, stay with us because we'll tell you how you can get a free gift, the top 7 man-melting phrases that make men fall for you. This gift is all yours, completely free of charge, so stay tuned to find out how you can get your hands on it. Later in the video, we'll look at the 5 best types of men for long-term relationships. But for now, let's begin the countdown of the 5 worst types of men. Number 5. He's lazy and dependent on you. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who has little to no motivation? Where he simply lives in hope that people around him will do everything for him? If so, you know how frustrating it can be. While at the beginning, you may think he enjoys to relax, unwind, and put his feet up a lot. As time goes on, you'll likely find it very unattractive to be in a relationship with someone like this. And unfortunately, often with laziness comes dependency on others. He expects you to pick up after him and his trail of mess, and all dates are organised by you as he can't be bothered planning anything. Simply put, a man like this hasn't learned to be independent. And the person on the receiving end will often become bitter and feel like they're dating a man-child. You'll end up feeling like you're his housekeeper, cook, and personal assistant all in one. The demand will be so overwhelming for you, which will only cause feelings of resentment towards your partner. A poll was undertaken to find out what couples felt was important to make their relationship work, and a whopping 62% said that sharing household responsibilities was the most vital thing for marriage success. This is a perfect example that shows that it is important to feel like you and your partner are equals in the relationship. If one person carries a majority of the workload, it will wear them down over time. It's best to both contribute and find a balance that both people are happy with to avoid issues later down the track. How you work the dynamics of the relationship may need to be discussed so that you're both happy. If you can ensure that from the beginning not one person is doing all the heavy lifting, you will have a greater chance of making it work in the long term. Okay, let's move on to number 4. He has the player attitude. While he may not be sleeping with other women, there is a certain type of guy that has the tendency to still live life like he's not in a relationship. Maybe he has many late nights out drinking with the guys, and whatever his friends are doing on the weekend is more important to him than spending quality time with you. This is an issue because it shows lack of commitment to the relationship. Unfortunately, it's possible he hasn't settled down or committed yet simply because he doesn't ever intend to. He would rather keep things casual and live the bachelor life for as long as he possibly can. And what's worse, men can be like this at any age. The player attitude is commonly seen in younger men, but older men can act in this manner too. Men like this often want the best of both worlds, so will date women on and off and string them along slowly. They give them just enough to keep them interested, but manage to keep things moving so slow to avoid taking the relationship to the next level. They simply aren't emotionally mature enough to be in a serious and long-term relationship. And if you push men like this to commit to you, it will only end poorly, likely causing him to break things off altogether. And the other side of it is, if you wait for someone to be ready to settle down, it may never happen, resulting in a lot of wasted time and unnecessary heartbreak. A study including 52 people found that lack of commitment is the number 1 reason for divorce. 75% of people found that this to be the major reason the relationship ended, with infidelity being the next contributing factor. So it's pretty safe to say that commitment is hugely important. And it's absolutely necessary for the relationship to thrive and succeed long term. If you're with someone who clearly wants the best of both worlds, to date women while acting like he's a bachelor, it's quite likely it's not going to end in happily ever after. It would pay to have a serious chat with him about your relationship so you know where you stand, or consider whether moving on altogether may be your best option. Before we continue, we want to give you a free gift, the top 7 man-melting phrases that make men fall for you. This amazing report is a must-have, and it's all yours completely free of charge. Simply click on the link below in the description to claim your free gift. Let's move on to number 3. He jumps into the relationship quickly. Maybe he declares his love for you on the second date and showers you with gifts at every chance he gets. And he tells you he's ready to settle down with you, even though you hardly know each other. This is a major red flag. If he seems to be racing to the finish line and wants all of it with you too soon, you should be wary. This is not how the natural process of a relationship tends to go. Relationships should start off slow and the bond grows as you get to know each other. At first, it may seem sweet that he has fallen for you so quickly, but it's important to know that this is a much bigger sign of some emotional baggage. The problem here is he's likely not fully recovered from a heartbreak from his past, or potentially went through something traumatic in his childhood. Whatever the issue, if he hasn't quite dealt with it, he may try to jump into a relationship in order to deflect from the real issue. He thinks that if he's in love and caught up with a new relationship, he doesn't have to deal with the issues deep down inside. He's using the distraction of you as a coping mechanism, which is unhealthy and will seriously affect the relationship later on. Unfortunately, these emotions have a way of coming out sooner or later. He may not want to deal with it now, but at some point it will rear its ugly head. This will only cause conflict between you or cause him to back off entirely, leaving you alone and confused. Talk to him about moving at a pace that is comfortable for the both of you and get to know each other better. This way you can figure out together if you're actually suited for each other in the long haul. Have you been with someone who pushed the relationship too quickly? What was the outcome? Tell us in the comments below. Number 2, he's possessive and jealous. This type of man guilt trips you when you're out with your friends, or even worse, makes you cancel plans with them altogether. He constantly sends text messages demanding to know where you are and who you're with, and becomes jealous and suspicious over nothing. Men like this want to appear as loving, but end up crossing the line and disrespectfully push the boundaries. This need to control someone is very unhealthy and usually comes from deep insecurities they have about themselves. Quite often, it's because they fear of being abandoned and are dealing with low self-esteem, which leads them to have the desire to control others in hopes it will make them feel better about themselves. It's important to note that it is completely normal to feel jealous from time to time. However, if jealousy is not controlled in a healthy manner, it can manifest and lead to possessive and controlling behaviours. In fact, studies have revealed exactly that. Research has indicated that individuals with high level of jealousy have led to destructive behaviour in their relationship. Jealous individuals were more likely to become possessive and become psychologically abusive to their partner. So if you find yourself with someone who is possessive and highly jealous, alarm bells should be ringing. People like this are not good for your mental health, and the longer you're in a relationship like this, the more detrimental it will be for you. We have made it to number 1 on the list of the top 5 worst types of men for long-term relationships. Do you have any idea what it could be? Let's find out. Number 1, he's showing narcissistic behaviour or is self-obsessed. To quote dictionary.com, the meaning of narcissistic person is someone who is overly self-involved and often vain and selfish. This type of man can come across as charming at the beginning, which may attract you to him in the first place. They generally have extremely outgoing personalities, and many people are drawn to their high energy and attracted to their confidence. However, as time goes on, more and more of their true self will begin to emerge. When someone is self-obsessed or a narcissist, they struggle to have much concern for anything or anyone outside of their own self-interests. They don't see the world from others' perspectives and will do what they can to make the focus on them the majority of the time. The biggest issue when it comes to long-term relationship success is you will struggle to feel worthy when dating this kind of man. And the result of this can be very damaging to your self-esteem. He will show very little concern for you, and you'll often feel little, second best, and unimportant. This type of behaviour is immature and it's not healthy for long-term relationships. And what's worse, if you enter a relationship already lacking self-esteem, it's likely to damage this even further. And did you know, studies have revealed that narcissistic people are more likely to be unfaithful to their partners? This is likely because they tend to be on the lookout for someone who they think will be better for them. And they selfishly rate themselves higher than anyone else and may struggle to fully commit to someone. A healthy relationship should always mean you're looking after yourself and your needs too, and never be just one-sided. As Buddha once said, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. If you're with someone like this, the chances are that you will struggle to have a happy and successful long-term relationship. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who was showing narcissistic behaviour? How did this affect you? Tell us in the comments below. Okay, we've covered the 5 worst types of men for long-term relationships. Let's move on to the 5 best types of men for long-term relationships. Number 5, he's a great communicator. Being in a relationship with healthy communication is a must, and for a relationship to grow and flourish, it's an essential component. Communication helps to create a strong and healthy partnership, one that can stand the test of time. However, if you have poor communication, it often leads to frustration and unresolved issues. Insecurities begin to grow, the resentment builds, along with the general loss of interest in the relationship. Healthy communication means when you speak freely while being open to listen, share experiences, and discuss conflict. But really, communication is so much more than that. Why? Because talking with each other leads to sharing, and sharing leads to getting to know each other better. This results in further bonding and creates more of an emotional attachment and connection, which is so important. In fact, one study found that both men and women believed that the connection they shared with each other determined whether or not they felt they had a good marriage. And what's more, evidence has also shown us that building small connections with our partner, even those which are minor and considered mundane, will build intimacy in the relationship. Therefore, communication really is an important factor for the health and long-term expectancy of a relationship. Ensuring you have healthy lines of communication in your relationship right from the beginning means you have created a healthy foundation. Next up, number 4, he has a good sense of humour. A good sense of humour is one of the most sought-after traits in long-term relationships, and it's clear why. If you're with someone who can make you laugh on a regular basis, then this will do wonders for not only your relationship, but your mental health too. When you can laugh together, you are helping to create a stronger bond. Plus, something as simple as laughing can help to combat any awkwardness or conflicts in the relationship. You know how the saying goes, laughter is the best medicine. Laughing has such a psychological effect on us. It decreases stress, helps us cope with grief, and deal with anger. It also releases endorphins to make us feel good, relax more, and have a better outlook on life. But I bet you didn't know that laughter also helps to boost your immune system. Amazing, right? Studies have shown us that both men and women value laughter in the relationship. And interestingly enough, how they valued it was different. Women valued men who can make them laugh, whereas it was more important for men to have the ability to make their partner laugh, as opposed to having a humorous partner. Simply by being able to laugh with your partner gives you the ability to ease tension and turn your mood around immediately. So, if you're looking for someone to settle down with, having a sense of humour should be high up in the list of importance. Never underestimate the power of laughter and what it can do for your relationship. Okay, we're nearing the end of the countdown of the 5 worst and best types of men for long-term relationships. Don't forget, you can claim your free gift, the top 7 man-melting phrases that make men fall for you, by clicking on the link in the description below. Okay, let's move on to number 3. He treats you with respect. For a relationship to work in the long run, mutual respect is essential. And when a man shows you respect, it's a great sign that the relationship has serious potential to develop and flourish. In a relationship, each person has their own traits, interests, and differences. Having respect means that you're able to appreciate them for who they are and never feel like you're being judged for just being you. Plus, respect deepens the friendship, and this is necessary for the longevity of the relationship too. It allows you to be vulnerable and truly be yourself and tackle the world together as a team. Respect in a relationship can be shown in many different ways. He may show you respect by listening and is patient when you speak, supporting your life goals, treating you as his equal, respecting your opinions and values, and considering your feelings. Dr. John Gottman, relationship expert, is world-renowned for his accuracy to predict divorce, and he believes one of the major contributors to a marriage ending was contempt. Contempt is like you are acting as though you're better than your partner and that they are not worth your time. Dr. Gottman believes that this is the most destructive and is poisonous to the relationship, and he found it to be the number 1 reason for divorce in couples. Respect is vital in a relationship. It limits conflict and makes you feel safe and valued, and it is what every couple needs to grow and thrive. Next up, number 2, he provides you with emotional support. Emotional support in a relationship is vital because it provides comfort and security. There can be a lot that we can face in life outside of the relationship that warrants the need to lean on someone. Death in the family, career changes, and health issues, just to name a few. Having someone who can keep calm throughout times like these show that the relationship is strong. So, what does emotional support look like? In short, when life gets tough for you, he doesn't close off or walk away. Instead, he is right there on the battlefield with you. He asks questions to understand why you're feeling a certain way, he gives you reassurance, and he offers you advice. Did you know that lack of emotional support can be detrimental to your mental health? Studies have revealed that receiving emotional support from a spouse or partner was an important component for depressive symptoms. Basically, couples who received support from their partners were less depressed. So, you can see how it's a vital component to any relationship, and it's important that he's there when you need him, and of course, that this is reciprocated. Emotional support is important and it has a strong and positive effect in a relationship. We have made it to number 1 on the list of the 5 worst and best types of men for long-term relationships. Are you ready to find out what number 1 is? Let's continue to find out. Number 1. He shares your core values. Sharing the same values in life will help to bring couples closer together and make them feel more connected. Whatever core values you have will be what structures your future and will affect how you make important life decisions. For example, some important core values to share together could be your view on marriage and having children. This is one that can change for many couples over time, and it can be hard to know what the future holds or how you feel about big life decisions like this. However, in most cases, this core value is set at a young age. Most people, if asked, would be able to state whether they can see themselves having a family and getting married one day, regardless of their relationship status at the time. So, for example, if you know that you would want marriage and a family one day, but your partner has expressed that he never wants children, then this could be a deal breaker for you. There are many other core values that could be important, such as loyalty, religious beliefs, your lifestyle, and how you choose to spend your money. You most certainly do not need to share all the same values in order to have a successful relationship. However, having core values that are similar will make the chances of the relationship working out in the long run much greater. That wraps up today's video of the 5 worst and best types of men for long-term relationships. Don't forget, you can claim your free gift, the top 7 man-melting phrases that make men fall for you, by clicking the link in the description below. We would love for you to click the like button and subscribe to our channel for the best dating and relationships tips and tricks. Thanks for watching and see you next time.